Settle back now, content, comfortable, well-fed, and ready for some fine entertainment. Is everybody happy? Then let's go. It's showtime.
Welcome to the Cuse Militia Podcast with those two unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
Most bullshit thing I've seen in 30 years.
What's up, Cuse Nation? Thanks for tuning in to the Cuse Militia Podcast with Sean and Joe. If you like it, please share it. The universal handle for the socials is @Cuse Militia. Go there, join the militia. We are the only Syracuse sports podcast centered around giving you, the fans, a voice. Welcome. Speaking of giving fans a voice, happy Thursday.
Hola.
Again,
Yeah.
back on schedule.
Yeah. Seems to be a nice off-season schedule, right?
Yeah. What?
It's
Every
not going to
Thursday?
work once the games start.
No. Once the games start, we'll go back to the normal format, which is every Sunday. So,
Yeah.
yeah. In fact, sometimes we split it up. If I'm not mistaken, we did like a Sunday, Tuesday, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we did post-game, and then we did the preview on Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So I don't know. I mean, whatever works. It just depends on how long the post game show goes, or whatever, the wrap up.
Right.
But speaking of which, we've talked about doing the call-in show. We were going to do a call-in show last week, and well, we never really prepared anybody. So no one likes to fail, and I didn't want to try to throw it out there at the last second and have it bomb
Right.
because, I mean, it's a bad look. And so what we're going to do,
So
this is
then you wanted the podcast when I was down at your house, which, by the way, I had a great time last weekend.
yeah, me too.
Good.
It was fun. Yeah, that would have worked at some point maybe if we planned it or if you were here longer. But other than that, that's tough. But the way I think we can do this and when I think we can do it, because it'll give everybody plenty of time to get ready, is the post game for the UNC Syracuse game. So how we'll do it is you'll get into the DMs. We'll do it. We'll let you know what time we're going to do the show. Get into the DMs. First come, first serve. I'll hit you back on DM when it's time to call. We'll take care of that one. We'll go to the next one. I'll bounce back and forth from Facebook and Twitter, and we'll get as many in as we can, and that's how that will go. It would be something I would love to do at the end of every game if we could. If we could.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
That's tough, though.
It is tough, but if we could do something like that, because as you know, we open this platform up to Tyler Morona. He's going to have Ty Thoughts. He's going to do that once a week. So he'll probably be doing some kind of wrap-up as well. So, we'll figure...
No, it'd be really neat if we actually timed it on a time when we actually are in the same place, right?
Yeah, and I mean, we planned on doing something like that last year at a game or something like that, but obviously that's tough. But, we'll figure something out at some point. I mean, it's so easy to sit here and be like, yeah, well, let's do this. Let's plan this. Let's do that. And then, it's like the time comes and it's like, yeah, that's not going to work. I got to do this or that or whatever.
Yeah.
So
well, that kind of stuff, especially the way that we do our show, it's kind of timing is everything, and we just haven't kind of gotten it right yet. That's all.
I thought you were going to talk for a second. I took a drink. Thanks. So, and I figured once you get talking, you're going to go for at least a minute and a half,
Hey, man.
I thought I had time. So
You're starting to condition me.
So the other thing is we haven't begged for ratings and reviews in a while, so why not try it again? Okay, because I do know that there have been ratings and reviews coming through, but for some reason, and I don't know the reason, and it's not a conspiracy, I'm just wondering what it is. I even tried looking it up, and I didn't get a real answer, but it's been stuck on the same number for quite some time. And I know we've gotten written reviews and things like that come in. So anyway, rate, review, subscribe on iTunes. That means a ton to us. If you don't like this show and you like Tyler's show that he's doing on our platform, like that one up. I don't care. Whatever. Yeah. Just, if you got nasty things to say, it's probably best not to say them on a format such as iTunes, okay? We appreciate it.
But, if you don't like us, it's probably not worth the time.
Exactly. Exactly. So, I think that's it. We got a little bit of UNC talk quickly. and then we will get into the rest of it, which is not a ton, but there was a little bit because Coach did have a press conference this past, what was it? I guess it was August 31st. What was that? Sunday?
Today's the 2nd, so yeah.
No,
Tuesday?
Today's the 3rd, Joe. Today's the 3rd.
Okay. My bad.
So
Monday,
maybe. There's a press conference. He did about a half hour on a Zoom call, had numerous Syracuse writers and news personalities on there. So there was some one particularly interesting thing that I took away that I didn't know what to think of, and a couple little things I thought were cool, and we'll get into all that. But first, as you know it's coming now, don't you?
oh yeah.
Yeah, you do.
Bet online.
Yeah, well, Bet Online, we'll start there, Joe. We'll start there. Bet Online is the premier sponsor of Armchair Media and this show. So, in fact, Bet Online already got the lines out for college football games. So,
yep.
And, I don't know what the line is tonight. College football going on tonight, Joe. Our new favorite D1AA school, as you mentioned before we went on the air, Central Arkansas, being the heroes. From zero to hero. I guess they tested twice after that game last weekend, and no positive cases of the Rona. That's excellent. That is excellent. It's a good sign. It is a good sign. And for all of the naysayers about the college football season, well, guess what? It's coming.
First team to play 2 games.
That's right. That's crazy. Central Arkansas, our new favorite D1AA school. So, as you know, sports are coming back. Look, a week from today, the NFL will be back. You're going to be able to bet on the NFL. You're going to be able to bet on NCAA. And then you've got all of the virtual stuff. You got the poker. You've got the virtual gaming. You got the NBA still going on, I think. Right? Yeah. And then, of course, you have MLB. And tune in also as Floyd Money Mayweather joins the Bet Online team in a new segment called The Ice is Right, where he talks about his expansive jewelry collection. He'll give you a chance to win some great prizes and bet on that the cost of that bling. Visit betonline.ag today. Check it out. Check all the odds out. Check all the props out. And also, they have the sports news there, the written stuff, so you can get in on some of that. And don't forget to sign up and take advantage of all of the welcome back sports bonuses. Now, listen, you do not need a promo code from Armchair. I got a question this past week about a promo code for Armchair. Just go there, sign up, and it's yours. But we're pushing it because they're our premier sponsor. BetOnline, your online wagering experts. Thank you, BetOnline. Now, look, this can get a little awkward. I'm not talking about ED. It is not Blue Chew time. I'm talking about the Manscaped Lawnmower 3.0, Joe. If you all didn't know this, okay, I just found out this weekend, Joe is a professional diver / swimmer. So he shaves his legs, okay? He's got to take the drag off. And he uses, what do you think he uses? He uses the Lawnmower 3.0, all right? Streamlined. Got no hair, straight up. Streamlined Joe. A little bit of nipple hair, that's it. But you can take care of that too. You can take care of that too with the Lawnmower 3.0, Joe. The electric trimmer is designed to give you a confidence boost through body image. The ceramic blade and skin-safe technology are designed to reduce nicks and tugs down low. The Lawnmower 3.0 is also waterproof. Comes with an LED light, so you can manscape in the shower or in the dark. I mean, in the shower, in the dark, whatever you guys prefer. So they also just released their Shears 2.0 nail kit. Now, guys can use this, girls can use this, because you know what? It comes with tweezers, scissors, round tip scissors, I should point that out, clippers, and a medium grit nail file for the ladies. So the Shears 2.0 nail kit allows you to pluck your eyebrows too, if you're into that thing like Joe. And also, go to the website, you'll find the Crop Preserver anti-chafing ball deodorant, okay? It's a chafe thing, all right? You guys know about the swamp. The swamp took us. You don't want nobody.
The swampus?
The swampus, yeah. If you can avoid the swampus, you're going to avoid the swampus. Go there, get the crop preserver. It comes in a kit. You can get the whole thing. Just go to manscaped.com. listeners of this show will get 20% off and free shipping if they use the promo code armchair at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com. Use the promo code armchair. It's time to... We'll stop there. Go there. Thank you. I almost made the same mistake I did last time.
Don't shave my legs, bro.
Manscaped.com. Thank you. Preach. All right. So, before we get started into the real nuts and bolts of all this, and I apologize, Joe, because I did not give you a heads up on this. I know you don't like being surprised by things, but I saw something before we came on, probably about 20 minutes before we came on, and I had to cut it with all the division and everything going on politically on each side of the aisle and all these things. There's very few things that can unite us, okay? And I think that there's something, I think it's out of Lincoln, Nebraska. I think that this one man can make a huge difference. I think that this could unite us. And I'm playing this because this is something very near and dear to people from Syracuse. And when you hear this guy start talking, you're going to get it. It's going to click with you. And I think no matter what side of the aisle you're on, no matter what your opinions about life in general is right now, when the Rona, social justice, any of those things, I think we can all agree on this.
Lincoln has the opportunity to be a social leader in this country. We have been casually ignoring a problem that has gotten so out of control that our children are throwing around names and words without even understanding their true meaning and treating things as though they're normal. I go into nice family restaurants and I see people throwing this name around and pretending as though everything is just fine. I'm talking about boneless chicken wings. I propose that we as a city remove the... Excuse me, I'm trying to...
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Sure.
Come on. I propose that we as a city remove the name boneless wings from our menus and from our hearts. These are our reasons why. Number one, nothing about boneless chicken wings actually come from the wing of a chicken. We would be disgusted if a butcher was mislabeling their cuts of meats, but then we go around and pretending as though the breast of the chicken is its wing. Number two, boneless chicken wings are just chicken tenders, which are already boneless. I don't go to order boneless tacos. I don't go and order boneless club sandwiches. I don't ask for boneless auto repair. It's just what's expected. And then number three, we need to raise our children better. Our children are raised being afraid of having bones attached to their meat. That's where meat comes from. It grows on bones. We need to teach them that the wing of a chicken is from a chicken, and it's delicious. I propose that we rename boneless wings in the city of Lincoln. We can call them buffalo-style chicken tenders. We can call them wet tenders. We can call them saucy nugs or trash. We can take these steps and show the country that where we stand, and that we understand that we've been living a lie for far too long, and we know it because we feel it in our bones.
Joe, can one man make a difference? I think so.
Is that serious?
Have you? Yeah, that was like a city council meeting. Yeah.
Shut up.
Yes, it was.
That wasn't a comedian?
No, that was a dude in front of like the city, like wherever at the city hall.
Huh?
Yes, making a difference, Joe. Why are you poo-pooing this man? Come on,
Lord. I got nothing. I got nothing now that you told me that was real. I thought that was a joke.
No, wow. That's real. That's real.
How in the world?
I mean, when you get 2 minutes, you get 2 minutes. I don't know. And he used his pretty efficiently there, I'd have to say.
Wow.
I mean, unless you're 5 years old, you get it. Elijah Fuentes, Joe. 6'3", 260-pound D-tackle, 3-star. Other offers from Boston College, Duke, Rutgers, Wake Forest, Buffalo, and UMass. He is, by the way, 3 stars, comes from the 247 Sports Composite Ranking. He is the 18th player in the 2021 class. He is currently ranked 55th in, I guess, Syracuse is ranked 55th, actually, for their 2021 recruiting class right now. So, 6 D-tackle, or D-lineman, for the 2021 class as well. Go. So a recruit comes in. Now, look, I don't mind getting excited about recruits. I really don't. But sometimes when we go over these, and we remember the names, but we don't hear these names. We're not going to hear a lot of these names for another year, at least.
Or two. Yeah.
Or two, right? Exactly. Yeah. So, I mean,
well, the key for this guy really is that he's in state, right? In-state guy, and that's one thing that I've started to notice that this year more than any year really is that we're getting more of the top guys out of state or out of our state as far as in-state prospects, right? So he just adds depth. Obviously, we talked about this a lot actually about our worries about the depth of the defensive line and where we were going to be after this year. We knew that who we were losing last year, but we knew you're going to have enough this year. But now you're talking about we're going to lose another 4 or 5 after this year, right? So I'm glad to see that we've actually made that a priority, and it actually became a priority the one year where we actually made that defensive change. So we don't got a bunch of guys that maybe didn't get brought in for this 3-3-5 scheme. So right now we're getting defensive tackles that kind of fit more into the scheme, and I'm glad that it's happening now versus, a couple of years ago. I was nervous last year, and I was nervous, but if 2 years ago they did this, then I would be a little worried now because we changed the whole scheme. So
true.
Hopefully they can be a difference. And again, I think we have enough, especially with Roscoe coming in as far as that graduate senior. I think this year we'll have enough to get through, but there's going to be a lot of weight on the shoulders of the younger guys, like the Tuizamas and some of these guys that are going to have to come in and start as, redshirt sophomores and freshmen next year.
One more for basketball, and then I'm gonna switch gears here into some UNC stuff quickly and play some coach audio. Chaz Owens is expected to take the final scholarship spot on the Syracuse basketball roster. He is the son of Syracuse legend Billy Owens, and pretty tall kid, man, 6'5", wing guy. So he's unrated or unranked by 247 and Rivals, so off the radar. But we'll see. Young kid, obviously he's got the genes, and more importantly, I think it's just cool to get the the legacy combos in here. You got I mean, there was a couple that I'm not going to be able to remember, but most recently you got Rounton's, Autry's, and the Boeheims, obviously, and now we've got the Owens. So just really cool.
Well,
and
dude,
he did average 23 points last year too, playing ball. So
yeah, well, again, the kid's not a slouch. He had 2 Division II scholarship offers. So like you said, he's not rated, so he was not given a D1 scholarship. But again, especially when it comes to men, some tend to have growth spurts when they get out of high school. They mature a little bit slower, or a little bit later, so to speak. And there's been people, Scottie Pippen, when he went to Central Arkansas, he was 6'1", and then a year and a half later, he was 6'7". And then you saw what he got, right? So again, this guy's 6'5". Who knows if he can get a couple more inches? And right now he's in that tweener spot where you don't know if he's going to be, a guard up front or if he's going to be a forward down low. I think right now he's trending towards a forward. But you never know. There's D2 kids all the time that get a couple years and they end up transferring and getting to D1. And I just like to see kind of like, again, we always talk about Syracuse and family and how, you can always come back, and you always see Billy Owens and Derek Coleman in games.
Very family oriented.
So it's nice to be able to see this. And whether or not he takes a scholarship offer or not, obviously I don't know if there's one available, I'm sure he's probably the obvious candidate, right? So,
there's
I don't know
one
if
available.
That actually happened.
No, I guess it's assumed he's going to take that last spot, because right now you've got, this would be probably my starting, and again, we don't know for sure, but this is just my guess. Joe, Buddy, Alan Griffin, Dolezaj, Sidibe.
Okay.
And then Quincy, Kadari Richmond, and then you got Jesse Edwards, John Bolajak, Frank Anselm, and you got Woody Newton, Robert Braswell, and then Chaz. So, I mean,
Okay, yeah.
that's stacked. I mean, it's
Right.
So anyway, that's it's cool. It's cool to get those. I was a big fan of Billy Owens growing up. I mean, those guys were great. Billy and Coleman, and the General back in the day. So really cool.
Yeah, and you never know if it's going to help with as far as a stepping stone, right? He comes in, maybe he red shirts, and you see a little bit of growth. Then maybe, with the influence of being able to play with Syracuse, practice with Syracuse, and maybe with the influence of Jim Boeheim, you never know. Maybe he can get a transfer somewhere to where he can play if he doesn't end up getting to a certain point, you know? Or maybe he just really wants to go to Syracuse. So you never really know.
So they're from Pennsylvania, I think, or that's where he was playing. I guess I'm assuming they live there, so it's not close. It's not far from home.
Right. So even if he doesn't end up being a Syracuse caliber player, it's still a good launching pad to be. I mean, it's a great place to develop with the talent that he has, and considering that he only got Division II scholarships offers. So.
Yep. So, all right, cool. So as we mentioned, Coach Babers did a Zoom press conference. And it was a half hour long. You can go check it out on Syracuse, I guess the Syracuse Orange YouTube channel. But I just grabbed some nuggets. There's just really one thing that I want to talk about, Joe, but we can hit up anything. And that'll be this first one here. You're going to hear
nuggets are boneless too.
That's touche. Yep. You are going to hear.
I was paying attention.
You were. You had me there, but you are going to hear Stephen Bailey, then Nico Tamurian, and then Josh Miller in that order on this piece here, in this piece of audio.
I wanted to follow about two specific guys. We've been getting pictures and videos kind of throughout camp and trying to see who's there, who's not there. Two guys who haven't popped up are Abdul Adams and Jarvion Howard. Two of your top running backs. Are those guys practicing? Are you expecting to have them? What are the situation with those two?
I think that you've got both those guys' telephone numbers and emails and Twitter accounts that you can talk to them directly and find out exactly what's going on.
Thanks, Dino.
Hey, Coach. Appreciate it again. I know you can't talk about the process and waiting for Chris Blake and the waiver and things like that. So I guess my question is, given that we're so close to the season, how difficult is it to, not know whether or not a potential contributor to your team will be in the lineup in week 1 or week 2 or whatever? I guess the timing is my question here.
Nico, based off of the things that have happened since I've been the head coach here for the last going on 5 years, I anticipated it being like this. I mean, when have we ever got a result back so quick that we didn't have to worry about it? So I know everybody else, I've seen some really colorful stuff by some of the faces on this screen about it. And trust me, I read everything. I try to read everything. And I really do appreciate it. But as far as me being uncomfortable about it, it's status quo. It's what it's always happened since I've been at Syracuse. I don't expect it to be any different.
Thanks. Hey, Coach, when you look at the offensive line and analyze the offensive line and you think about improvements, do you think it's a communication thing? Do you think it's a leadership thing? What do you look at when you look at the offensive line? You're like, this needs work.
I think the biggest thing with the offensive line is all of them working together. They're one of the few groups where you really got to know the guy next to you. And the longer they work together, the better they are. When you have injuries in that group and you put a new guy next to another guy, there's a learning curve that has to happen between those two guys as far as exchanging blocks and making calls and knowing what someone's going to do or what they're not going to do. So that's the biggest thing. When you trade a wide receiver or trade a DB, they're just coming in and playing their position. They're normally out there on islands. The offensive linemen work together all the time. They're like your left hand and your right hand working together. And they really got to have a feel for each other if they're really going to be above average, so to speak. And that's the big thing, is trying to keep the same 5 to 7 guys working all the time together, and so they can have a feel for one another.
Joe, let's take this and work backwards. We've talked a lot last year about the offensive line and gelling together and how important that is, and he just he must listen. So, but
he's wicked smart.
He's wicked smart. So, no,
he is.
But yeah, obviously. But does it worry you on when he starts talking injuries and this and that? Do you take anything away from that as far as that goes, or because let's face it.
No, I don't think I really take too. No, I think he was explaining the.
Go ahead.
I think he was explaining the process of how an offensive line has to take the gel.
Right. Okay.
I mean, last year you saw where they brought in the name that we will not speak of to play right tackle, and we thought that it was going to fix everything and fill a hole.
Right.
And it didn't work that way, right? And not until that name to not being spoken left.
Who
did we actually get the new? Did we get our new offensive line for the last 4 or 5 games?
And they played pretty decent.
It took a couple games, but I was at the Duke game, and that offensive line dominated that defense, and that wasn't an awful defense. So, I mean, I think we had over 200 yards rushing 3 out of the last 4 games. So we all saw an offensive line that started to gel near the end of the year, in which we're basically getting almost everybody back, right? So minus Evan Adams. So it's a situation where I think he was just explaining the process. I'm not really reading too much into it as far as if you're asking me by his comments, is he telling us that there's injuries on the offensive line and kind of prepping us for...
He drops breadcrumbs a lot, and that's why I'm asking.
Well, sometimes he does, but sometimes it's just a scenario of him just explaining the situation.
Yeah, of course.
Right. You could turn it around. You could turn it around, and he could be explaining why last year was last year and why it's this year is going to be better.
But we are also in a year unprecedented in the sense, well, in every sense, really, but especially with Syracuse, how private everything has been. There have only been, as far as I know, still shots coming out, and we'll get into that. But in a year where we don't know a whole lot going into the season, and we're just about a week away from games at this point on Thursday.
Dude, to me, depth is going to be key, right? Obviously, there's not a lot of people that got spring football in.
Right.
And with everything with coronavirus and people opting out and the fact that we don't even know still who is opting out or who isn't, and I'm just talking about our team, I'm talking about other teams. And realistically, even if it ends up being a false positive, you're going to have to sit out a game. So this year more than ever, you need depth.
We do have the, I think there's a new saliva test coming out that's been approved. That's going to be rapid, and you're going to be able to, if you get a positive, you might be able to go back and hit it again without having to wait. I don't know what kind of waiting they're doing, but I know at work for us, I had a guy tested at 6:00 on Monday, and we still haven't got. Here we are, 7:00 on Thursday, and I haven't heard anything yet. So, I don't think they're having to deal with that, but, the rapid test is going to be huge. Okay, so Nico tapping into what the fans were thinking, as usual, doing a good job there, pushing for the Chris Blake. In free hashtag free Chris Blake came out on Twitter hard this week. Everybody really pushing.
It's been everywhere.
And I mean, you look at this and you're like, well, what's going on? I mean, what's the holdup? I don't understand. Are there that many? We can't be doing it in alphabetical order. So,
no, definitely not.
So, I mean, this late in the game right now, Joe, do we expect a waiver for Chris Blake?
Can you give us a week? Can you just give us a week?
Yeah, I mean,
I just don't. To me, it's the best thing about this whole comment, right, with Dino about this was that he acknowledged the fact that he's seen
that he knows what we're going through. He gets it.
Right. So this whole time, everyone's my dad's talked about it. Fans, have you heard the conspiracy theories?
Sure.
Right. People call it conspiracy theories, right?
We should think it was just Boeheim.
We get treated like this by the NCAA and this and that. And look what Boeheim got and some of these punishments versus some people that have done more, right? So there's this whole conspiracy. And now you got a guy that comes in and based off those comments, I mean, he's been to some big time schools. And based on those comments, I mean, it seems to me like he's pretty much admitting that,
it's like he gets it.
I haven't experienced this with the NCAA with any other school, right? That's kind of what the take that I took from it. And realistically, it shouldn't be this. You have something like the NCAA, right? there should be a timeline of the process.
There's got to
right?
be something.
And if there's not, and if there's something that's holding it up, give us something. Tell us why.
Well, maybe,
release a statement.
Well,
can you give us something?
I mean, I understand that, but if there is something, and Coach does know, I mean, let's just say
they granted Alan Griffin.
I understand that. Yeah,
and that was
that was more of a shock.
Football starts before basketball.
That was more of a shock to me than. I would have thought it might be the other way around. We'd be talking about Alan Griffin.
You see some of these quarterbacks that just switch over to like the Ohio States of the world and everything, and they just immediately 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later.
Right.
This is going on for like 6 months, and I mean, again, we just need to ask for a little bit of clarity. That's all. Like we're a week away, like you said, a week and 2 days, whatever, away from a game. And we still don't even know if this guy's going to play, and that affects the way you practice. Because if this guy's a starter, then you want him playing with the first team. But if he doesn't know that he can play, then what are you going to do? You got to split reps with somebody, which takes away with building exactly what he was just talking about with the cohesiveness. And it's like, look, if there's a reason, just tell us, right? If you're still waiting for this or still waiting for that, or there's some investigation on this, or you're waiting, like, tell us. At least tell us and let us know where we are as far as the status of the process. I mean, at this point, you can track your packages, right? You order something, you know exactly where it is, right?
Yeah,
so why can't we track a process with the NCAA? I don't think it's that difficult.
I've always been on this bandwagon.
I mean, even the IRS tells you when the stuff gets. I know, come on.
They're equally as bad almost. I don't know.
But at least they tell you when the stuff's accepted and when it's going to get there.
Yeah,
and when it's expected to get there, right? Like, I mean, come on. You don't get nothing from these guys.
Yeah. So we will see. Expect, like Joe and I were prepping for the show earlier this evening. And like to your point, Joe, we may have to do an early show next week because of the early news that's probably going to hit early week before the game. So there might be some things, and we'll get into that in a second. But Stephen Bailey, he was the first one you heard there, questioning the absence of Abdul Adams and Jarvion Howard. He said, I guess there is videos. He said they didn't appear in any of the pictures or videos. And Coach's answer was a little worrisome to me. I ain't gonna lie. You've got their contact information. You got their Twitter handles. Go ahead and why don't you ask them. So I'm not going to lie, bro, the way this offense was and what we planned on seeing again with the heavy run, and you got your two best guys, obviously 1 and 2 not being seen at practice with kind of an ominous answer from Coach. To some extent, I don't know what to think. Didn't get the warm fuzzies out of that one.
No.
And I don't. If it is an opt-out issue, they do have probably a few more days. What do you think, Joe? I mean, that would be the worst-case scenario, right?
I mean, to me, right, yeah, and that's kind of where I go from, because, I mean, if you've heard him before where he's not going to disclose it, but he's always said, he's just banged up, got some owies, so if it was an injury, they would just, kind of throw that out there, but not give you all the meat and potatoes of the situation. But it's just, in this situation, it seems exactly like what you said is like, and I've read some of it, that there's still some players that don't know if they're going to opt out or not. And at some point, obviously, there's going to be a timeline. And to me, honestly, coming into Labor Day weekend and everything, and tomorrow would basically be a week and a day away from the game. To me, if I was coach, that would be tomorrow. And that's why I said we're going to have, a lot of stuff to talk about when it comes next episode, probably next Tuesday, where they're probably going to already have released a depth chart, and there's probably going to be news of who's opting out, who's not, injuries, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. This is an unprecedented season. You don't know what's going to happen with coronavirus, and every practice has been closed. Like, everything that anybody is even trying to assume is just based through either hearsay or conversation, right? So it's going to be wild. We will see. Yeah, absolutely. So let's
switch gears. We're going to do some fan feedback. But first, one more time. Let's hear from our friends at Bet Online, the premier sponsor for the Cuse Nation podcast and Armchair Media. We appreciate them for coming on board long term, as far as I know, too. So for all your betting needs, man, go to Bet Online. I know we used to have this other sponsor at one point, but I mean, I know I've been to both sites. None of them are bad. They're not terrible. But I will say this about Bet Online, because I'm sure people are wondering, hey, they used to push that other one all the time, for a couple years or a year at least. And Bet Online, their site does have more. I think they really were cutting edge with some of the unprecedented things that happened while sports were supposed to be going on. They really did a good job with all of that. And they've got pretty much everything there. They've got the lines out. I mean, people, even Syracuse.com, I think, was quoting their lines.
Their app seems a little bit more.
Their app's a little more
user-friendly.
Yes.
User-friendly.
Yep. So, as you know, you can go there. They've got some of the written content and all of that stuff. We appreciate you supporting the sponsors, obviously, as you support us. If you're going to bet online, use betonline.ag. We appreciate it. Visit betonline.ag today. Check out all the odds and up-to-date sports news. Don't forget to sign up and take advantage of all the welcome back sports bonuses. No promo codes right now. When they do come available, though, I will get them to you. Bet Online, your online wagering experts. Thank you, Bet Online. Okay, Joe. So, football is starting, bro. Does it strike you as like almost unreal that we are sitting here Thursday, September 3rd, and we're going to play on the 12th? We're 9 days away from Syracuse football. There's not going to be fans in the first two games, but who cares? It's like when NASCAR finally came back, there's no fans. I'm like, who cares? I just want to watch.
No, our first two games are away, so I don't care if there's fans there anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Right. It doesn't hurt us one bit.
It's kind of a W for us, right? Well, you wouldn't think so if you looked at the line.
Right. So the line right now for the UNC game is UNC, by the way, preseason ranked 18th, right?
Yep.
So the line's even worse. The line's sitting at it's got Syracuse at a 19.5-point underdog. So
I read on Syracuse.com before we came on that it went up a point today and it's 20.5.
Really? I just pulled that today.
Yeah, just later on in the day. Yeah. It's already gone up a point, so
that's kind of crazy.
Hey, man, I read an article the other day on ESPN. It was top 50 players in the NCAA football. They rated them, and they had Sam Howell, the quarterback of UNC, at 22. So, and they had a linebacker, I think, in the 50s or 60s. So,
yeah,
we shall see. It's not going to be easy, but I do have a guy at work who. He's part of the booster club. He kind of gets the insider info and all that stuff. And he said that some of the rumors going on is inside anyway, is that they're worried about their offensive line and worried about getting a pass rush. So plus they had 3 defensive backs opt out, none starters, but one of them was the nickel back. So depth could be an issue if they have a couple injuries there as well. So that's just a little insider stuff I got from him.
Right, and it's really hard to rank anybody not knowing the full details of anything going on. It's hard to put the lines out. It's hard to do all that stuff.
Well, he's gaining his information the same way we're gaining our information, right?
But
like it's through.
Yeah, sure. I'm talking about the coaches' polls and the AP polls and all and all these people that are they're shooting in the dark too. Right?
No, they're throwing darts.
Yeah, they have no idea. So we're not going to know what we got until we see what we got. Okay.
Yeah. And hey, Tuesday, I go back to work Tuesday, and hopefully there'll be more information that I can kind of squeeze out of him.
3-day weekend.
Since I said he's in that UNC little circle there, so anything UNC he kind of hears and figures out. So that's just a couple things that I heard coming into, which could be good for us considering that we have a new offensive coordinator, new defense coordinator. They don't know what's coming on. Some of the stuff that Tyler talked about last week, where maybe we could sneak a couple early with people not really knowing what's coming with the new offensive coordinator, with the new defensive coordinator. So, I mean, they have some great receivers and they got a great quarterback. But if that offensive line does have problems, especially coming from a defense and a defensive coordinator that they haven't seen,
be great practice for the 3-3-5 coming on. I think the first game is going to be. First of all, you're going to really see what you got, but it's the first team that sees it is it's such a huge disadvantage, in my opinion. And why not it be UNC? Why not?
No, I mean, if what he's saying is true, which again, I mean, we don't know enough. Like 20 and a half, almost 3 touchdowns. That's a lot. I don't know if I would bet on it or put any money on it, but sorry, bet online. But from what he said, knowing that we're coming in with this defense and with an offensive line that possibly could be struggling, they're going to be seeing some different stuff. And then I'm no tape on our personnel running the scheme that we're running. So we shall see.
All right. Let's do some fan feedback real quick. Wanted to have a little bit of fun. So before we have the live fan feedback, I said I like doing the Mount Rushmore stuff. It's fun, okay? Because it pigeonholes a number of things you can put out there. I put who is your Syracuse sports who is on your Syracuse sports Mount Rushmore of current players? Okay, I opened it up. I didn't want to put it as just Syracuse sports current players. Is fine. We had some good ones that were a little bit diverse that I kind of agree with. So, at Baptized by Fire 7, our buddy Dominic, he said Aaron Service, Andre Schmidt, that's a good one, and Buddy Boeheim, and Andre Sisco. So that's a good list. That's a pretty good list right there. Let's do this. I didn't know what my list would be. I come up with so many variations, so I'm just going to pick my favorite because it's the fan's voice. It is what it is. All right, our buddy at Geo Heater, he says he wanted to put Junji in there so bad, but he's going to follow the rules. Good for you, Gio. Thank you.
Thanks, Gio.
Appreciate it. He's got Cisco, Buddy Boeheim, Trill Williams, and Schmidt. That's another good one. Mm-hmm. But he can't stop there. If this were last year, he says, obviously Hughes, Alton Robinson, Hoffrichter. So he's prefacing, and I don't know what the opposite of that is, or the post prefacing. I don't know.
Yeah.
At Matt_Sherman52, Tiana, that's a good one. Cisco, Scanlon, and JG3. Scanlon, I'm missing. You got me on that one. Good, touche. Good job.
Probably most likely a lacrosse player.
Okay, true that. That's a good guess. At MHT Bird, 4 Marix. I'll accept that, Mark, on Twitter. I'll accept 4 Marix. What about you, Joe?
No.
Okay.
Won't do it.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. I hear you. Hey,
nothing personal.
No, that's fine.
It's not the rules.
At Cuse365, JG3, Buddy, Cisco, and Tiana. I like that one. I'm somewhere around there. What do you mean? If JG3, I didn't have in mind.
I like Tiana.
I like Tiana in it. I honestly don't have JG3 in mind, but I get that one because coming into sophomore year, he asked this question at the end of the next basketball season, and who knows?
Say that one again.
JG3, Buddy, Cisco, and Tiana. Magic Ahia.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
Did I say that right?
Yep. You said it fast enough for me to say
Exactly. And that's how it's done. That's how it's done.
Now he's finally learning, folks.
Give it time. At Tom Hartnett 21, Cisco, Schmidt, Magic Ahia. He put it down there. He spelled it out right and everything. And Buddy. So Cisco, Schmidt, Tiana, and Buddy.
That's mine.
That's a pretty good one. You like that one?
That's mine.
Is it?
That would be mine. There's a reason for everything. I don't think when you look at the team, right, I don't think you can keep. So with Andre Cisco, he was an All-American as a freshman, right?
Yeah, Cisco's got to be on.
You have to. Right, because there's no team that's won like if we had a basketball team that won a national championship and you could put like 3 of them on there, right? Mm-hmm. And, Trill Williams, great. JG3, yes, he's a great player. But I look at, you got to take the active leading scorer of the basketball team, which is Buddy, right? And then you have to take Andre Cisco, who is a freshman All-American, and we know he's going to be a future NFL player probably next year.
Yeah.
I'm taking Andre Schmidt because he actually won a national award. I don't care if he's a kicker or not. Lou Groza as a freshman, right? And he's most likely, if he keeps it up, going to be an NFL kicker one day.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
And then Tiana. where you have somebody who has basically was like the heart and soul of the team.
Yep,
and
coming
then
back again too, I believe.
Coming back through breast cancer and doing what she did, and then coming back this year. Just inspiration, great story. I think that's the 4 you got to go.
It's a good.
If there's another option to go over those 4 stories or those 4 reasons, then you got to present that to me. Because they all have reasons to be there.
I'm with you, Joe the Thinker. Thought that one out very well. Spoken there, Joe. At Cuse Waterboy, Dolly, Cisco, Josh Black, and Tiana. I love Dolly. I do, and I accepted.
Me too.
I accepted the 4 Dollys. That's what makes it hard, though. It does, because I would put Buddy over Dolly, and it's just the legacy thing. I mean, we talked about the legacy thing today. I mean, you just gotta almost put him up there, and I understand it's behind privilege. I know, I get it.
Nah, I mean, I think I'd put the best. I would put the active leading scorer on the basketball team probably on that every time, because Syracuse is known for basketball, especially men's.
True.
Only recently did Quentin Hillsman come in and make this women's team a beast.
At James Zuba, I mean, this guy, who is this guy anyway? By the way, this guy, James Zuba, who trolls the Twitter page, who? Never heard of her.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah, never heard of her. Gino Thorpe, Devin Brennan McBride, Mike Jones, and Matt Gorman. I mean, just totally... just totally not following the rules.
He must have been drunk when he did that. I mean,
Probably. I heard he's a drunk. So,
Mike Jones, transfer. Matt Gorman.
Matt Gorman, I love that one.
He's a fall Hall of Famer in Watertown.
Yeah, right. Oh, jeez. At J Rumpf 12 Schmidt, Cisco, Tiana, Marek. That one's not terrible, but again, when the Marek is a fan favorite, so you can do that. You could, and by the way, Joe. You stuck up for the drunk Zoobs list, top 10 Syracuse basketball players. So, I mean, you can go fan favorite on this. Don't be such a stickler, man. At K-Wall, I'm just saying, bro. I'm just saying.
I don't have any bad opinions other than the fact that you used one person for 4 faces.
Well,
that's breaking the rules.
I'm just saying I would accept it. I would accept it because everybody loves them. Hey, you always have that one player on the basketball team. There's always that one player on the basketball team that everybody just loves because he's a goof. Well, I mean, look at Billy Seelick, man. I used to love Billy Seelick. Loved him. Now it's Mark.
JB
Reef-Snyder, my mom's favorite Syracuse basketball player of all time. Okay? That's great.
I used to call him JB Reef Stinker. I was a little kid. I didn't know any better.
Oh, my gosh.
Even Christoph Ojanot, right?
Yeah, Ojanot, yes. Yeah. Beast. At K-Wall Cuse, he's got Cisco, Paulina Sharamova. I believe I pronounced that wrong, probably. Aiden Tooker. Okay. Aiden Tooker's a track and field guy, I believe. I believe at K-Wall Cuse. Of Noon's Magician. I believe he was a track guy as well. So, and Tiana. So, very good.
Olympic sports in there.
Yeah, man. He went all out.
That's going deep.
Appreciate the participation from Twitter.
Absolutely. It's going to have us doing our homework.
Yeah, I know. So, yeah, it makes you just wonder, like, I'm horrible at this because I watch basketball and football. In the occasional
now I want to know what
game,
sport they play.
Well, I know the one dude is track and field or whatever. Yeah. Cross country or whatever you call it.
Well, dude, we've had good Olympic sports. I mean, even our soccer team's been pretty good lately. I know field hockey, women's teams like that. So I'm sure if you actually went through the Syracuse, all of the sports and all of, both genders, all of the sports, then most of the people that we're talking about probably wouldn't be there. But
let's see. Chris on Facebook, Pearl, Davis, Brown, and Mello. And look, I'm just going to say it does say current players. And I understand, as Andrew says, sort of like doing a Mount Rushmore of living presidents. That's not how you do a Mount Rushmore. Nobody fits the bill. Well, I mean, we already did a Syracuse football Mount Rushmore. We did a Syracuse basketball Mount Rushmore.
A couple months too late.
So
there.
we already have done that. The rules are loose in this. We do what we want. It's our show. It's our Facebook page. We make the rules.
Do what I want.
Yeah, do what we want. Mike on Facebook. Football. He just goes. I didn't realize how backwards he went. But Joe, I hate to have to do this. Let me go back here because I wanted to read through them all again. But I gotta agree with you, man. The Tom Hartnett 21. I think that's the one I agree with the most too. I do. I mean, you've got
with us knowing what we know.
Yeah, at Cuse jersey 44 has Tiana, Gerard, Buddy, and Griffin. Well, I haven't really seen Griffin yet, though I expect him to do good things. I got to see something, right? So,
I mean, I can see somebody taking out Andre Schmidt and putting in Dolezaj. Because, again, fan favorite versus a kicker, and
Yeah, I know.
All the way back to the Adam Sandler song and the Lonesome Kicker. It's just
you're looking at
people don't respect
professional
the kickers,
talent,
man.
though. I know, but you're looking at professional talent.
You're at a professional talent, and getting a national award like that just doesn't happen every day.
As a freshman,
right?
So, you know,
when you look at Mount Rushmore, you look at presidents, chiseled in place on a mountain for their, accolades, right? And what they did. So if we're going to do a current one, all I can really do is try to make sense of it by taking people that have actually won accolades, if that makes any sense.
No, I agree. What was Gio's again? Cisco, Buddy, Trill, Andre Schmidt. I love the Trill pickpocket from last year.
Yeah.
And I love Trill.
And I can see that if you go if you're talking football, basketball, right? Because traditionally that's mostly kind of what we talk about, right? So there's players there's athletes on our Olympic sports teams that are Olympic sports teams that are probably going to make the Olympics one day, right? So, I mean, we could easily put them in there if we were privy to that, and that's what we talked about, right? So, but we're majority, basketball, football, and so I can see how if you were going to focus your Mount Rushmore on those two sports, how you can come to that conclusion. But, we talk about, women's basketball too, and, we've talked about Tiana and, the struggles and everything she's gone through. So,
oh, by the way, Polina Shemanova is a volleyball player. I just looked that up.
There you go.
We figured we'd clear the air on that. Totally. So, totally. Totes my goats. That's all I got, man. Unless you want to do top 10 football movies and disagree with them.
No, I don't know.
No, you want to save it? It's
top. What?
I'm not going to say where it came from because I don't want everybody to peek early. It's top 10 football movies from a big name source.
Oh yeah.
That I was just looking for filler because I didn't know how long we'd go, but I should know better that when we do a podcast, you're going to talk plenty.
Joe's going to bloviate because that's my favorite word to say.
So anyway,
right?
Look,
is that what that was?
I wasn't going to say bloviate. I was going to say talk a lot. Jeez.
Oh, okay.
Calm down. So look for a don't do it, man. You've been really good. Look for an
You're not my dad.
Look for an early episode next week. Expecting news to drop Tuesday, Wednesday. Might be recording that. Obviously, we want to do the call-in show. The call-in show will be the post game for the UNC Syracuse football game. The show will happen on the 13th. You know what we're going to be talking about. We'll put the times out. Just look for that on social media, Twitter, Facebook. Also, Tie Thoughts. You see those pop up. Give those a listen. Please, if you would, just take the time, if you enjoy the show, to rate, review, and subscribe to whatever platform you listen to. We really appreciate it. I want to thank you all for listening. I want to thank BetOnline. I want to thank Manscaped. And we love you guys, man. That's it. That's all I got, Joe. You good?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good, bud.
Right. All right, for Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Cuse Militia Podcast, the fan's voice with Sean and Joe.
Hey, how's your air mattress, bro?
The air mattress? What are we going to do in overtime real quick? Hold on. So we might as well.
Is it dead?
And if you don't want to listen, this is not sports related. Yeah, it's in the trash. So Joe came over We had a blast. We drank a lot of beer. He kept me up really late.
No, it wasn't just
so
me.
you know.
Heather, kids.
Bro, Heather
We had
was
6
tired
kids.
at 8 o'clock, and she was a trooper. God bless her, because she stayed up till at least 1, probably 12:31. And you and I, Joe's like the Energizer Bunny. I'm like, man, I am beered out. Beer stopped working on me at about 1 o'clock in the morning. It stopped. The effects of beer stopped. So I stopped. And I figured I would just not fill myself with liquid and be completely full. But
Like me.
2:30 in the morning rolls around, and I knew that the kids, probably mostly mine, my 5-year-old, were jumping on the air mattress in his room. He was having Heather's kids in there, and they were having a little
Well, let's
slumber.
be honest, right?
They're
2
having-
5-year-olds and a 7-year-old.
2 5-year-olds and a 7-year-old.
In
In a room with an air mattress.
There you go. We'll set the table for you.
Yeah, so we knew they were jumping on it. I knew the air mattress, it'd been around. It was okay, I thought, but it had been around, so we weren't expecting it to be in perfect shape. When we pulled it out, it was definitely in good shape. But I went up there and expected maybe I'd just blow it up and we'll be good to the morning. Man, we go in there, and there's 3 young boys down at the bottom of this air mattress, because what the air mattress is half inflated, and what happened was they're all on the flat side that's on the floor, and then the other half of it's
Pillows
in the
and blankets.
The other half of it's in the air, full of air in the air, and we got hands on faces in
God.
butts.
Dude,
And
you couldn't even tell whose arms were who and whose legs were who.
they all
It was
rolled
crazy.
down to the bottom.
Mind you,
these-
this is what 2:30,
It
and
was
we're both
2:30
pretty
in the
much in
morning.
the bag. So
We were in the bag, and so I'm like, oh man, well, we got to find these holes. So I start 2:30 in the morning, self-inflating air mattress. I turn the thing on. It's freaking. And I'm like blowing it up with them on the mattress, which is hilarious to watch, because the thing is struggling to blow up with these 3 kids on there, and it blew it up. It did good. And so you could tell where one kid started and one kid ended. And then, so we tried to separate them the best we could. And I was about to walk out of the room, and I heard the leaking. So I came downstairs, I grabbed some electrical tape. And I mean, electrical tape fixes most things.
Electrical.
I was looking for Gorilla Tape, which really does a good job, but I couldn't find any. So I grabbed electrical tape. I'm like, this will work for the night. And so I go up there and I plug a hole, and I'm like, yeah, I think we're good. And I start to walk away, and I hear another, and I found another one. Found 3 holes. Plugged them all.
Yeah.
Plugged them all.
Yeah.
Well, we should be good. Blew it back up a
and
little
I was
bit.
just dying laughing in the hallway this whole time, just trying not to wake people up.
Which was a failure, because Amy said, what the hell were we all doing at 2:30 in the morning in the hallway laughing, giggling like little girls. So anyway, we got it blown up, and all was well until the next morning when I walked in there and the thing was straight on the floor. So we tossed it. It's gone.
Great times.
It's might not be a funny story, but it's really funny to us because of the visual. These 3 kids, 3 little kids in there.
If you can't visualize that and laugh, I'm sorry, but you had to be there then.
And we swore we would do overtime, and we never do. So there you go. There's your overtime. We appreciate it.
There you go. There's a free story.
Free story. Saved it to the end. You didn't have to listen. If you thought it was stupid, that's on you. Sorry.
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey.
Why are you still listening?
All right. We'll see y'all next week. Take care.